Good evening, everyone, and welcome day 516. Here we are, July the 24th. Thank you for being here tonight as we continue our updates regarding Ukraine. Tonight, we've got an extremely full update. I know that many of you are here because you want to hear maybe a little bit about Moscow, what happened there. Did Ukraine really hit it? Additionally, the strikes in Odessa. You may have been also hearing about the Danube River, and you go, the Danube, that's in Ukraine? We'll see. I can also tell you that right now, it's a lot of drones in the air over Ukraine. So thank you for being here as always. Thank you for continuing to like, subscribe, comment, share, give, hit the links. You see what we're doing, and you are a part of it. We couldn't do it without you. So thank you guys, and be blessed. Let's jump right to it tonight. So we're going to start. It's nonstop. I can tell you over the last 24 hours, Sumi's been hit. Of course, Sumi is being hit more and more often now due to the proximity to the Russian border. And even today, Russia was talking about how many soldiers they are piling up on the Sumi area. That's at the northern star, the top star right there. Additionally, we're going to talk about this in a little more detail in just a moment, but Konstantinivka, a city where we do a lot of work, was hit today. I'll update you on that. Very sad story. Additionally, over the last 24 hours, Odessa smashed. In fact, my friend, who's the former senator from Odessa, we were chatting today, and he messaged me during the strikes. He says, Greg, it's really, really bad in Odessa. So we'll look at that. I've got some photos for you. You see also the bottom black and red explosion there. That's down on a river port. We'll talk to you about that and get you updated on some geography in regard to Ukraine. Now, let's flip it. Ukraine is smashing Crimea. They have taken out multiple ammunition depots. Additionally, they have also taken out an Onyx missile storage supply. We know that because of collaborators that are there, Ukrainians who are behind the scenes fighting for Ukraine, for their homeland, and they have brought some proof to Ukraine with photos and other things that are proving that some Onyxes have been taken out. And folks, that's a very good thing. Those Onyx have been causing Ukraine quite a problem in the Odessa region. Additionally, I know that you've seen it. I know that you saw it. Yes, Moscow was hit. Who hit Moscow? I can tell you right now, Ukraine hit Moscow. Period. It was not somebody flying a drone out of their backyard. We'll get into that as well. Now, referring to the strikes on Crimea, the Onyx, that's a picture of the Onyx missile. That supply depot has been hit. And how are they doing that? How is Ukraine able now to hit Crimea with a little bit more certainty? That is because they're using the Storm Shadow missiles. 4 Storm Shadows were able to have successful strikes in Crimea on supply centers. So the Storm Shadows, I believe that they are from Great Britain. So that's what that is. But we're very thankful for it. Now, Moscow, people want to know. Let's see here. Let me see. Chuck Binkham, welcome to your brother. As always, Rick Berry. Ansi Drop, good evening to you. Chill Dude. Large drone attack on Kyiv tonight. That is true. That's happening right now before we get into Moscow. We'll talk about that. Quiet in Odessa tonight so far. Larry and Deborah, welcome to you. Jeffrey Burnett out there in California. Greg, was Russia really close to striking Romania? We're going to look at that. Desade saying partisans. No Russian smoking accident. Zelensky said more payback coming. And I see Ricochet there as well. Stephen Phelps, welcome to you, my friend. Ricochet, welcome to you. So Moscow early this morning, it was hit. There was a couple of drone strikes. Russia saying that they took the drones out through their electromagnetic wave pulses, but they were still able to strike. You can see the photo on the left of a building that was hit. That's actually a double photo there I've got for you, and the building on the right where debris came down. If you look on the picture in the right and you look way back in the very background of the picture, between the two tall buildings in the very background, that would actually be the very famous building there at Moscow State University. For years and years, it was the tallest building in Moscow. So these strikes were absolutely right near the defense center that was talked about. So what is it like when the drones were flying? The drones were flying in Moscow. I can tell you personally that I have witnessed this in Ukraine. I've seen the drones come over my head. I've listened to them come over my head. I've watched them fly, and this is exactly one of the drones flying in Moscow today. You can listen to the sound.
Господи, так это реальная штука.
You see the propeller on the back of it. Now, additionally, you can also see this for once. How about some damage in Moscow? See the grass all cut nicely. There's a picture of the building from the ground level. And finally, we're getting some hits in Moscow. So that is good. Vroom, vroom, vroom. That's correct. That's exactly what they sound like. And yeah, you do not pick them up at the local hardware store. Mark McLaren out there in Great Britain, they did nothing. The drones circled for 10 minutes before hitting their targets, proving Moscow is defenseless. That's correct. Is that an Iranian drone over Moscow? That was not an Iranian drone, but it was a good one. Is my wife chipping in tonight? I heard them when we were FaceTiming each other. They are scary. Mopeds of the sky, yes. I would often FaceTime my family when the drones were flying overhead. You know, that's a little sadistic, I guess, but we were in safe places. I wanted them to know we were in safe places. Now, it's very active. Let me give you this right here. A couple more images of Moscow. Finally, it's not Odessa. It's not Kyiv. It's not Khmelnytsky. That's Moscow. On the left, you've got a business, the Masandra. On the right, you've got a cigar shop. That's what that is. See it right there? The brown building, left letter, Cigari. That is cigar shop. So we're good on that. That's very exciting. Now, with that said, very, very active. Of course, we're expecting a response from Russia because they got smacked. So what will it be? We shall see. I can tell you right now, let me go to this one over here. This is the current air alarm raids, 4:09 a.m. in Ukraine. It is 9:10, now 4:10 a.m. there in Ukraine. Zaporizhzhia is on the right, is under a missile alert. Kharkiv under air raid for cruise missile. Nikopol under artillery. And then Poltava, Kirovograd, Cherkasy, Kyiv, Vinnytsia, Zhytomyr, Khmelnytsky, Rivne, and Ternopil are all under the mopeds attacks, the drones. And I can tell you tonight, very, very, very active in the Kyiv region. That's not just a city. Kyiv, as I've shared with you, is a tremendously large city and region. It's massive. And so it's not just the city proper, but also this huge region that makes up Kyiv. And Kyiv it's quite active tonight, but air defense is doing a good job. But you know, when air defense goes off, they still hit the ground somewhere. So we will see the results of that here in the next few hours, and we'll check it again before we get out of here tonight. Now, that is Moscow. I want to move you over now to Konstantinivka. Let me pull this up here. Let's go to this. Let's go here. You know what? While I'm here, let's just do this first, and then we'll come down to Konstantinivka. So I was telling you guys that up around Sumy, Russia pushing in a lot of forces. They're just about 50,000 are on the border right now with Sumy. Ukraine not expecting them to come across the border again, but they are loading up there pretty well. Right on the north, this would be just east of Kharkiv here. You can see this is the focus of Russia's pushback. Ukraine has popped a little bit here, which is good because they had not done that. But we have to come all the way down to Siversk, which is just above Bakhmut. Ukraine has taken a little piece there. And then you come down to Bakhmut. The highlands around it are pretty much the same. Russia did pop a little bit back right here on the river, and Ukraine's still pushing up here on the northern side of Bakhmut. And we're getting some movement down here. Today, they said that over the last week, Ukraine has recovered 20 square kilometers. To be honest, it's not a lot. For those of you that understand kilometers, it's not a lot, but it's better than nothing. Everywhere else along the front lines, pretty much staying the same. This is what Ukraine had already taken back below Novaya This is where Russia's been pushing back below Vinnytsia, and Ukraine pushing here. Of course, then you come down toward Kherson, nothing changes. Russia's saying they control more of the river bottom here, but not really. Nobody's controlling that. They're just both shelling it. So that's where we're at. But I want to focus on Konstantinivka. This is here in that circle route, that circle road I talked to you about, Slavyansk, Kramatorsk. And then you come around to Konstantinivka. Konstantinivka, there's a reservoir here. It's actually the one is right here. Now, when Zhenya and I are in Konstantinivka, we actually drop aid near this reservoir. We work in that quadrant of the city right there, which is the closest to the line. But this reservoir right here today is where this happened. Top picture a little tight, but it's permissible. I usually try not to show too much on YouTube, but you can see it. A child was killed, 7 more injured in Konstantinivka, right at that reservoir I was just showing you. The Russians were using the Smerch. They struck a couple of families that were there trying to swim in the lake. Cluster munitions. A 10-year-old boy died on the scene. He was injured there. They got to him. He died. 7 more injured, and 4 of those are children. Now, to be honest, they should have never been at the reservoir, period. They should have never been at the reservoir. I can't even tell you how close that is. In fact, if you go here, I'm zoomed out. You can see gold line here above my head, reservoir here. Folks, it's just a few kilometers. And I understand it's summertime. Maybe you're trying to have some normalcy, but I've been right there. They should have never been there. It's so loud in that section of the city. There's always incoming. There's always outgoing. So unfortunately, this is what happens. Very, very sad. Chill, dude. Or Decade, sorry. I've read Chill, dude, Decade. This is pretty much stalemate, mainly because of the mines. It's what Zhenya and I called it 2 months ago, before the counteroffensive began. A frozen. And I know it's not a frozen, technically, because both sides are still working. But folks, the front's not moving. 20 square kilometers is nothing. It's better than nothing, but it's so minimal. So it definitely a stalemate. Do you think territory-wise Russian goals just to not lose any ground for this year? So I watched Russian state TV today, and a general was being interviewed, and he said, I was watching Russian TV, and he said that Russia is doing exactly what it wants to do. They do not mind to give up 10 square kilometers here, 30 square kilometers there. They're doing exactly what they want to do, and that is slow the counteroffensive out from Ukraine, cause the war to go longer, deplete their air defenses, and just drag it out. Because once it moves back into the winter, America heading into the election cycle, Europe growing more tired of this, he says at that point, we'll put the hammer down. That's what I watched today on Russian state TV. So I think exactly their plan is not to lose any in the West. Let's see here. The West allowed Russia 8 months to prepare defense. That's a massive failure. That's correct. The other thing is Ukraine could not start their offensive on time. In fact, about 3 days ago, Zelensky stated, we're struggling, or the offensive is slow going because we had to start late due to failures, both on our parts of letting information out that we shouldn't have, and also in regard to supply of weapons. Carrie Dyer, good evening from Nevada, sir. Oh, the other thing very interesting that I was watching, and this was on the Russian state TV as well. Same folks were talking about, very interesting. Their viewpoint was America is handling this with Ukraine in a way that was pre-agreed to with Russia years ago. Meaning, if things happened along the Russian border, America would supply. They would do their NATO job. They would supply, but America has signed that they would never get involved with boots on the ground against Russia. Russia would never get involved with boots on the ground against America. Little nations may fall, little nations may be destroyed, but the superpowers, this was agreed upon years ago. So we'll see. Let's see. It's going to get messy after the elections. Yes, it's going to get messy after the elections. It's going to get messy before the elections too. Yeah, the 1993 agreement. That's correct, sir. They were talking about that on Russian TV today. Now, Odessa. I know you guys have heard about it, but I want to show you something here. I'll take you here with this view. This is Soborna Street in Odessa. This is actually the church. I'll try not to give you motion sickness here. This is actually the church that was struck. I've been right here in front of this church. It's beautiful. I've stood right here on these roads. Beautiful brick type cobblestone. There's the church. That's what it's supposed to look like. Beautiful. This is the neighborhood around it. So what's across from it? I can tell you that's a bank. That's Privat Bank. Right here, Apteka. That's a pharmacy. Let's see what else is here. Oh my. Y'all know what that is? I'll tell you. Children's clothes store. And, that's the children's clothes store. It says we're having a sale. These would be homes. And there's the church. So this is the church that was destroyed or struck very hard. There was video released, beautiful video released of Ukrainians pulling together, working together to clean up the site. Just very sad. I don't get it. I will tell you this. Okay, I'll tell you this. Let's do this. Let's do this right here. Go back to this a second. So I can tell you this in case you were wondering. The church is right here in the middle of the screen, right there. Okay. If I zoom out a little bit, the port's here. The storages are all along here. The church is right here. Regardless, the church was hit, should not have been hit. But it's close to the ports. It's close to the storage. We can see what Russia's intention here is, and it's terror and destruction. This is outside. Looks like one of the priests. Looks like he's in a black robe. They're walking. Here's a man cleaning in the rubble. This is the Transfiguration Cathedral once again. Additionally, they also hit the House of Science, which is a science museum that holds all kind of historical documents, historical things, a science house. Look at the place. It's beautiful. Destroyed. So church, science center, destroyed. Now, I see a lot of you guys in here talking about the strike near Romania. Let's go for that now. Danube River in Ukraine. It's so funny. When this news came out, you see the little yellow arrow down there at the bottom? That's where the Danube River comes out. So many people, it was kind of funny when this news started breaking that a river port had been hit on the Danube River. There were people responding in chats, and I don't like reading a lot because most people have no clue what they're talking about. But the Danube River, they were going, see, these people don't even know what they're talking about. The Danube River is not in Ukraine, but it is. People typically don't know that. But it comes out right at the very southern tip of Ukraine. Let's go to the map, and I'll show it to you, and I'll show you the port that was struck. So here we have Odessa. If you come right down the coastline, past Chornomorsk, and all the way down to this border right here, right there. Now, this is Ukraine. This is where Moldova drops in, and then Romania wraps around it, Moldova being completely landlocked. The border here between Moldova and Romania then transitions at Galati to a border between Romania and Ukraine. And if I zoom you in here, you can see written right there, the Danube River, right there. The ports that were hit were right here. I wonder if I can go this view on that. Right here. That's right. If you come up the river, go past there. Right. I've had it earlier. 1 second. Don't get motion sick on me. I'll take care of you. Right here. This is where the ports are. Right in this region. Come up here. Right here. This area right here is, you can see a large ship there. This is what was struck. And yes, if you guys want to know, halfway across the river is Romania. So this port system here was struck. I mean, what? A kilometer from Romania. So yes, that was a problem. And they're going after ports. They're going after the infrastructure. They're going after anything that can get even the grain deal out. So that is the Danube River where it comes out in Ukraine. Once that happened, the Romanian president came out and he stated, I strongly condemn the recent Russian attacks against the Ukrainian civilian infrastructure on the Danube. It's very close to Romania. This recent escalation posed serious risk to the security in the Black Sea. It also affects further UA grain transit and thus the global food security. Let's see. Let me catch up with the chat here. Drones was the choice for the port strike near Romania, not any high-tech missile system. I find that interesting. Yeah. probably Ricochet, they knew they wouldn't have to waste the money for the missiles to make the point they wanted to make. I'm pretty confident that there's little air defense down there, because think about it strategically. Ukraine would even say or think that there's no way Russia would take a chance of striking Romania by trying to hit a port on the Danube River. So drones, I can tell you the drones are very, very controllable. Are most of the non-Iranian drones just pre-programmed for strike location or actively piloted remotely? I can tell you this point blank. So non-Iranian, the only non-Iranians that I'm familiar with, of course, they have the ones from Turkey. They have others. But Ukraine has some of their own drones they're now making. And I know that they're making two types of drones where they physically have pilots that are sitting in locations piloting the drones. And they also have pre-programmed drones by GPS coordinates and all that logistical stuff. I also can tell you that those Shaheeds, that they can control, the Russians can control those as well remotely, and they can pre-program them. What is Russia's biggest port, and is it possible to hit? I do not know what the biggest port is. I can tell you what the most important port to hit would be, and that would be up outside of St. Petersburg on the Baltic Sea. That would be a great one to hit. Their ports up here. There'd also be nice to hit Kaliningrad here. Oh, let me go here. Kaliningrad, that would be good to hit. Sorry, guys. St. Petersburg would be good to hit. And, of course, over here, Vladivostok. So, you know what? Actually, I can tell you the most important port to hit. It's right here. No joke. Since you asked the question and we're live and I can respond to you, it's right here. It's this port right here, Anzali in Iran. That's the port where Iran is shipping the drones across the Caspian Sea up to Russia. So we could hit that. That would be great. We could take out Chalus. And then we could also take out up here where they're bringing them in, which is Machaklaka. So those would be great ports to hit. But no, continue to strike Kerch. It's going to be possible. Okay, Mark McLaren, where are you getting your knowledge from, buddy? I love Ukraine using 3D printers and people across a large area printing the parts for their own cruise missiles so Russia can never take their full factory out. Mark McLaren. Good man. Great Britain. Mark McLaren somehow is showing some inside information. Good job. I guess it's not inside, but that's how they do it. Jane and I have actually been in the construction room of drone manufacturing, not the missiles. We've been there with the programmer, with the designer. We have watched them put the pieces together for the drones to work, to drop munitions, to modify them. And these Ukrainian, we call them Ukrainian hackers. They're brilliant civilians that are serving the military. This is all they do. So military gets drones, not just commercial ones that Ukraine's manufacturing, but any drone they can get. They send it to the hackers. The hackers reprogram, redesign them, build parts with 3D printers, send them back, and it's used by the military. That is so smart. They are hackers. Oh, bud. Big time. Big time. You don't want to mess with their hacking ability. Yeah, it's really, really cool. And honestly, there's hundreds, I don't want to say thousands, there's hundreds and hundreds of drone modifiers. They're brilliant Ukrainians, typically late 20s, 30s, 40s, early 50s, and that computer mindset, and they're ripping it. They are ripping it with the modifications. It's very cool. Yeah, that is a big movement also. Support Ukraine, send them your drones. That is no joke. because they can modify them. So that's the Danube River. It is on the Romanian border. Here's a couple more images I have for you. This is the central port in Odessa. These storage centers would not be too far from the church that was destroyed, the science center. But you can see the targets is the grain. Here you can see another grain facility that was struck. You can see the black there. That would be the remnants of the fire. So the big question of the night is, why is Russia being able to strike Ukraine more? So on the Ukrainian media, Ukraine's very good at communicating with their people. In fact, I would say I've never seen another nation communicate with their people the way Ukraine does. For sure, the United States doesn't. Now, we are not in a war. If we were in a war, maybe we would. I don't know. But I can tell you, I'm a part of some private communications that come from Ukraine that disseminates like to government people, and then it will be disseminated out to people. There are also public sites that maybe some of you guys are a part of or you try to keep up with. Most of those are not in English language, so it's a challenge for you, maybe. That's why I try to translate a lot of stuff. But Ukraine, over the last 24 hours, put out a message. It came from the Defense Department, basically answering Ukrainians' questions. Why is Russia hitting us more? Not that there were more strikes, but why is our percentage of defense going down? Why are we taking out less, whether it be a drone, a missile? Because typically over the last 45 days or so, Ukraine's been enjoying about 85 to 93% takedown with the air defense. But here over the last week or so, it's been 63%. So Ukraine actually released this today. I've translated it for you. It was telling the Ukrainian people, what are false targets? What is EW? And why is Russia more successful now in the air against Ukraine? I changed that to make it so we could read it, but it said actually in the air against us. And you know what's really weird when you're streaming? If I was to write up there us, so I changed it Ukraine, somebody would message me and go, why did you write us? You're an American. It's just the junk you have to deal with. But so I changed it against Ukraine. False targets, they wrote. They're used to exhaust our air defense system and distract our attention. Many times they are missiles, but they have no warhead on them. We've talked about that in the past. However, they carry a threat because the empty flies to a certain goal and debris fields are always dangerous. So Ukraine has to fire at the empties. Secondly, drones, such as the Orlan 10 type, which is Russian, no possibility of munitions can be placed on them, but they are used to find air defense systems. They're to locate them, find flight paths, as well distract and exhaust the air defense. This is why Ukraine now has been cracking the whip down. And I don't mean abusively, but I mean like police are knocking on your door, you're getting arrested, you're getting treated fairly. But those folks that are still thinking they can film the air defense, film the HIMARS, film the MLRS, film the 777s, whatever, and put it on social media, they're getting them every day because Russia is using this. I remind you, Russia is the number one nation out there, not China. They're probably number two, but number one for being able to just scour media and pull out the information that they need, especially for this war. Finally, electronic warfare devices, EWs, make electromagnetic pulses that simulate the presence of targets in the air. They appear on our radars, Ukrainian radars, and they disorient Ukrainian air defenses. Also, with now the mixture of what they're doing between the drones, between standard caliber class cruise missiles, hypersonics, the Onyx. That's why it was very good that Ukraine was able to strike an Onyx supply depot down there in Crimea. Russia has changed their tactics, and these are the reasons that Ukraine has put out. This is why we're struggling a little bit. Now, I'm going to check the chat, and I'm going to ask you guys a question. Does anybody know where this is? If you've been watching our streams, and many of you have from the very beginning, anybody remember? I showed you this picture before. Does anybody know where this is? Chill Dude, ZNPP. No, not Zaporizhzhia Nuclear Power Plant. Yeah, this is a very good point. This is why people follow Zelensky. He tells people what is happening and what he does to rectify things and keeps the public in the loop. Stephen Phelps guessing above Kyiv. No, it's not above Kyiv. Let's see. I have a feeling Erdogan's about to stand up to Putin. Chill, dude. Don't hold your breath on that one, buddy. Dnipro River. No. Krivoy Rog, the canal to Crimea. I love it. So let's ZNPP. Come on. All right. Kherson. No. All right. I'm going to give you guys. I'm going to give you a hint now. This is in the Donetsk Oblast, the Donetsk region. Very famous. JDO, he's just being honest. I have no idea. It's in Ukraine. Okay. Bakhmut. This is Bakhmut. I know you're now going, what? Yeah, this is Bakhmut. Right here. Let me go here. This is the Riverwalk. You know, here in the U.S., San Antonio, for example, has a beautiful Riverwalk. Bakhmut had created a beautiful Riverwalk. You could walk along. This is Bakhmut. And you can see here, right there, Bakhmut. I'll just drop you. I'm going somewhere with this. I'll just drop you right here. Oh, unless they've taken it down. Let's see. Yeah, they've taken it down. Oh, only a few left. Look at this. What is this? Okay, so I no longer can pop it. Oh, there we go. Okay, here we go. Look at Bakhmut, folks. Look at that beautiful building. Beautiful. Look at this. The Central Soccer Stadium. Beautiful. So, why am I showing you that? Because today, video came out from Ukraine and they showed they flew a drone over Bakhmut. So, you see this. Beautiful. I showed you the Riverwalk here. It's beautiful. What does Bakhmut look like today? Looks just like this. This is from today. So from that to what you just witnessed, no words are necessary. I see you guys in the chat there talking. You're all right. It's terrible. It's senseless. And anyone that thinks any other thing, they're mad. What purpose? To completely scorch it. Of course, this is the machine. This is what they do. This is what we're trying to share with the world. I can tell you that one of the largest wineries is in Bakhmut. You know what's interesting? It's not destroyed. It's now shipping wine to Russia. It works underground and it's massive. It's still functioning. They saved it. So very, very sad. A couple of other things. China secretly sending enough gear to Russia to equip an army. So this come out today. Russia has imported 30 times more, 30x the UAVs from China this year than Ukraine has. Now, this would be commercial UAVs. Ukraine is using these things like crazy. The DJI Mavic 3s, they're incredible. Ukraine's using them like crazy. When I'm there getting drone footage, we're flying a DJI. But Russia has imported 30x. Of course, they're a much larger nation. But regardless, they're using it for the military. No question. No question. Wagner, the 10th column over the last 24 hours has moved in to Belarus. I didn't even go there tonight. There's no reason because it's just madness. But as I have shared with you, the Wagner is now, they're pushing over into Brest here. It's on the Polish border. It's all a game, folks. You know, Putin meeting with Lukashenko today. He's meeting with him tomorrow. They're joking and going over war maps. And Lukashenko today tells Putin, he says, man, it's hard for me to hold these Wagner boys back. They want to go take Poland. Folks, all of that's scripted. Please realize it's all scripted. They know exactly what they're going to say. They know exactly what buttons they want to push. Wagner's not going to push into Poland. But they say these things so the world draws their attention there. And unfortunately, Ukraine also. Zelensky even today saying there's so much going on the north, especially on the Russian border and in the Volyn region here, that we have to pay attention to it. It's drawing our resources there, even though we're confident they're not coming across the border. We'll see, but it's definitely taking from Ukraine. So 5,000 Wagners in Belarus. Now, I have, Mark McLaren, correct. China said they were banning drone sales both to shock China. Listen, folks, you know as well as I know, China is partners with Russia. Why? Because they hate America. It's simple. These nations hate the West. They hate Europe. They hate America. And all they want to do is rule the world. And they're working on it together. Let's see here. Very sad for Ukraine. Massive destruction. That's correct. Chill dude, pray for Israel. Agree with that 100%. That's the situation. And I personally believe when it all is said and done, there will be a connection between Israel and Ukraine. Some of you may think I'm crazy right now, but time will tell. Been here since day one. It's 5/16. We're not going anywhere. I'm telling you, there will ultimately come a connection between the two. Now, I have told you guys for a month now or so, the reservoir that has been drained, that is affecting Ukraine in a degree that the world doesn't even understand. The Novakakhovka Dam, Ukraine says they're going to rebuild it after the war. What that means is this is not going to be filled anytime soon. This reservoir that fish transit and travel, water, power systems, gone. The yellow triangle right in the middle, that's Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. That's what we're going to conclude with in just a moment. But this is a pre-satellite image before the dam was blown. Finally, I've got a good image to share with you guys what it looks like now after from the air. Here you go. I marked the nuclear power plant as a landmark for you. That's Zaporizhzhia. So, reservoir full. Reservoir empty. If I transition to this map and you look right here, right there, that's the reservoir. You see, the Danube River was not initially that wide. They manufactured, just like any other nation, a huge reservoir for a power system. The river comes down from Kyiv. Look up at the north here. Chernobyl's here. It comes down from Kyiv, goes through Cherkasy, comes through Kremenchuk, through Dnipro, through Zaporizhzhia, wraps around Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, and all the way down to Kherson. And this is how big that reservoir is. So go back here, full of water, empty. Unbelievable. Now, logically speaking, guys, when we share things and we tell you that Ukraine's not telling always how many people were killed or what's the ultimate result, it's not that Ukraine is trying to lie or be deceptive. They're trying to use wisdom, because if they were to describe in detail a lot of the struggles that are happening in the South, people would become very fearful. When Jania and I were just down on this river, we stood right, if you look at my face and look right to the right, that little corner right there, we stood right looking at that reservoir full of water, and now gone. It is a mess, and it's affecting people, it's affecting livestock, it's affecting animals, and time will tell, but I'm just here. Let your eyes do it for yourself. Full of water, no water. That's where it's at. So, last thing, right here, IAEA. So, Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant yesterday, 23rd of July, performed an inspection of Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. So, they were able to inspect. They have submitted their report today. This is the information from the IAEA. Number one, yes, the Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant is mined. We physically saw them with our eyeballs. Russians on site told us that that was for security purposes against the Ukrainians and against collaborators who would want to do damage to the power plant as a terroristic attack. That's what they were told. It is mined. Number two, they wanted to inspect the roofs of number 2, 3, and 4 units where satellite imagery has shown that there is potentially munitions placed, ready to be blown, false flag event, whatever. They were denied access to the roof. They could not inspect it. Number 3, today there was a hot shutdown of the number 4 reactor. I have tried to educate myself a little bit on a cold shutdown versus a hot shutdown. It's actually hard to find. So I'm not an expert on this. All I can tell you is it's not good. Basically, the temperatures have not been cooled. in the reactor to the certain levels where they have to do a systematic shutdown. They shut it down hot. Number 4 is shut down, confirmed by the IAEA. So that is correct, chill dude. For weeks, they've called Ukraine liars. The world has called Ukraine liars. It's not mine. You guys are full of it. Whatever, whatever. Today, the report was given from a visit yesterday from the IAEA. Yes, it's mined. No, we can't get on the roof. And number 4 is hot shutdown. Whatever that means, I'm not a nuclear scientist. I just know it's not good. So that's where we're at. Folks, I hope you're enjoying it. I'm actually enjoying the live. There are days when so much is going on, we have to preset the record and then push it live, and we're in here chatting with you and communicating with you. But this, it's so much more interactive and very enjoyable. Roofs of the cooling towers or reactor roofs. Roofs of that building right there. That's what I can tell you. Roofs of the cooling towers or reactor roofs. I'm assuming JDO, that's the reactor roofs. There's 6 of them. So it's those buildings right there. In fact, if you, I can do it this way. Where do I have that at? I've got that right here. Let me do this. Let's go to this. It's not the cooling towers over here or the whatever. It's these reactor. I'm assuming that's what you're referring to. There are 6 of those at Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. And those are the roofs, especially 2, 3, and 4. And as you can see here, the buildings are numbered. You can see them. Now, I can also tell you just outside information here. I've also been to the Southern nuclear power plant and Khmelnytsky nuclear power plant. They're all huge. They're all well protected. You cannot get close to those at all. We could get close because we have the access credentials to get close, but they're shut down the same way Zaporizhzhia would have been. It would have been very protected if Russia had not taken it. Ukraine does a good job of protecting their nuclear power plants. To say, you know what? People would watch info on this all day long, Mr. Terry. Well, first of all, Mr. Terry is my father. I'm Greg, or PG, or Barney Fife. One of these days, you need to have a marathon stream, 8 hours, 12 hours. Would you believe? Okay. Dude, okay, I'm going to take you as a confirming voice tonight. I'm going to take you as a confirming voice. I actually thought about this. When Zhenya is finished with the summer camps, and by the way, we're in summer camp number 2 now, and things are going good. Thank you guys, as always, for helping us and supporting. For those of you that are new here, people give money. We've raised money. And Larry and Debbie, their ministry, giving money. And we're right now doing refugee summer camps for kids, certain location in Ukraine. Through it, we've actually, we believe, saved a family's life that would have been killed in New York, Ukraine, no question. Even the family dog was killed, but the little boy was not there. Therefore, mom and granny wasn't there. So that's because of you guys. But I've been thinking, and I'm going to take this as a confirmation to say, Zhenya and I were talking about a 24-hour stream. Why? As a fundraiser, and just put it out there and work on getting the message out. So 8-hour, 12-hour would be nothing. So you know what? It's coming up. I'm going to take that as a confirmation. We were thinking about it already. Yeah, Russia ain't going to allow them up after we saw switchbox appeared on numerous parts of the roof. That's correct. They're not coming up. Maybe online fundraiser for humanitarian aid. Oh, absolutely. It would be for the humanitarian aid. We would do it for a project. Maybe it would be, well, we'll see. It would be the need of the time. You know, we've raised money here the last couple of months for the summer kid camps, refugee camps. But as we move into the fall, we would definitely have a reason for it. Liking this idea already. I've also been thinking about, just so you guys know, I'm going to get Pavlo Ungurian on here. Okay, sounds good. You most certainly should. Would be amazing. Chill dude, be good. Covering news develops. Yes. Speaking of that, we can go back to the air raid alert, and I can give you that as of now. You can see how it changed through the last hour we've been streaming. Now the drones have completed their flight through eastern and central Ukraine. Now it's just in Vinnytsia, Kyiv, Zhytomyr, Khmelnytskyi, Ternopil, and Rivne, and it's all drone alarms. Additionally, really cool stuff here. I've been working through this. It tells you when the alarms start and end, when the last alarm began and end. It breaks down the statistics of how many alarms per day by region. Folks, I just found some of this stuff today when I was preparing for the stream. It's absolutely amazing. So we could go through all of that. Winter is coming and basements are still being used by too many. They're being used every day. So that's where we're at. So folks, thank you for being here. Oh, that's good. Cameras are cheap. You got it going now. Anyway, I was telling you, I'm going to get Pavlo Ungurian on here as well. That's the former senator from the Odessa region. He'll come on. So if we do a long stream, maybe we could work in interviews, the news, whatever. It would be good. Michael McFall said Russia had a close call that may ease up on Odessa. That would be the strike next to Romania for sure. Give kids cameras, let them record something. Oh yeah, we got all kind of stuff we can do. So that's where we're at, guys. And thank you for caring. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for all that you do. Remember to continue to share, like, tell your neighbor, tell your friends, donate, all of those things. We appreciate you guys very, very, very much. Mellow Yellow, Operator Starsky. Yes, know about him and appreciate you and your comment there. And especially loving the, what is that? Your image, avatar, or whatever it is. Enjoying that a lot, that blue and yellow. So, all right, guys, be blessed. Thank you as always. And hit the wrong button. There's the right button. We'll see you in 48 hours, if not before. Be blessed and do something good for somebody. Catch you later. Thank you for everything. See you soon.